Hey, everybody. Welcome to this episode. Today, I'm interviewing my client, Kiera. Her business is Money Empowered, and we're going to talk about money and just all kinds of things, making more money, what to do with your money. So, welcome, Kiera. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me so much.
Absolutely. So tell the people what it is that you do in regards to money, because I think there's a lot like money coaching, financial advising. Like I think people kind of get confused. So just tell people what it is that you do and how you help them.
Absolutely. So I am a money coach, different from a financial advisor, and I'll explain that. But I help people with their personal finances day to day. So anything from paying down debt, for savings, for getting their money mindsets together, and that's more of their relationship with money. How do they relate to money? How is their relationship with money as a kid? How is that transferred to what they do today? And how can we create a healthier environment for their money? And beginning investing. So when I say a money coach, and I differentiate that from a financial advisor, in that a lot of financial advisors work with your wealth. So they will take your money, they will invest it in a way that works for your goals, and they will try to help that grow. What I do with beginning investing is I work with people who may not have a 401k. They may not even understand what stocks or bonds or ETFs are, but they know that investing is one way to wealth. So I always say I'm kind of the beginning part. So I help you understand investing a lot better. We can get you set up for things like 401ks. If you haven't done that, we can help you with, I can help you with understanding what a brokerage account is. But then when you have gotten your wealth to a place where you just want it to go off to the moon, then you can go to a financial advisor and work with them to grow your money even more.
I love that. And I'll just
Yeah,
give a plug because my brother is a financial advisor. So
that's right.
we've got your full team to go here.
Yes.
And I love that you're saying this because what I do with my clients is I help them learn how to sell and make more money.
Yeah.
And the reason why I think what you do is so important is like, well, what do we do with the money once we get it?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
what I think is also really cool is I hired you to be my money coach.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about this today of like how I've helped you make more money, change up your business, be able to reach your goals in terms of selling, and then how you're helping me
Yeah.
like manage my finances, look at debt, look at paying things off. So we'll talk about both of those things today, but we'll start with some of the wins that you've had, because what I always like doing is we've been coaching together for maybe 3 or 4 months, three
Yeah.
months. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to grab my clients when they've like had some wins and they're
Yes.
in the middle of the breakthrough, because I find that it's useful for you to share in your own words, like what
Mm-hmm.
shifts you've made, what results you've created. And I find that that typically connects better with like my other clients, my future clients, because it's in
Mm-hmm.
your own words. So let's just talk about where you were whenever we first connected, right? And I love this too, because some people like they don't want to talk about their numbers. Like, let's just
Right.
remember this is a safe place to talk about money. It's a safe place to talk about revenue. It's a safe place to talk about like what was working, what's not working without any shame. It's just like, let's
Mm-hmm.
look at where you were. Let's look at the results you've created in the past 3 months. So, where were
Yes.
you whenever we first connected? Like, what were you offering and how much revenue were you bringing in up per month?
So it's interesting that you say that per month. I wasn't bringing in consistent revenue per month. It might have been here or there, especially this year. So last year I did a lot of speaking, and that came up kind of organically. And I was starting to make a lot of money with speaking, but I took the back seat for my one-on-one clients, which I was missing. So I
Mhm.
came into this year with one-on-one clients, and with the economy, of course, like reaching out to corporations and things like that, they were like, we don't have any money. So I was like, okay, well, let me try to work on my one-to-one clients and trying to get that back up and running. And so reaching out to past clients, some of them came back. So like in the summer, I did more of like a comeback. I'll give you one session for free, and then you'll join on if you want to do that. But I had two clients that said like, okay, I'll come back. The others
Mhm.
kind of, I got my one session and I'm off, which
Yeah.
we'll talk about that later. And that's
Yeah.
kind of one of the changes that I made, and it's been helping me significantly. So it
Mhm.
wasn't really even the beginning, first half of the year, that I was making consistent one-on-one client coaching. I did make a little bit of revenue with speaking, but probably prior to you, at best $300, because I
Mhm.
was just doing, you can do one session at a time, and I was charging 150 per session.
Yeah.
So it might have been $300 max at that time when I came to you per month.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
okay. So good. And I think one of the first things that both of us would teach our clients is like, knowing what revenue you're bringing in, right? So sometimes we
Yeah.
don't even know what we're bringing in. So one of the first things is like, how much are you bringing in? Let's add it up. Let's see where we are, and let's not judge it at all.
Yes.
So let's talk about where you are now. Like, I forget what your highest revenue month was thus far. What can you share with us what that was, or if you remember it?
I want to say it was last month, and so I would have brought in around like $1,800 to $2,000 in
Yes.
just that month. So that was the
Yes.
largest month that I've ever had in 1 month.
Yes. Okay. I love that. And celebration. I wish I had like a little ding ding ding, like a bell. Yay. Yes. Yes. And that's part of it too, is like celebrating all progress, right? Like
Yes.
every dollar counts, every new client
Yes.
counts. So let's talk about one of the first shifts you made, which I think is like learning how to sell, like instead of just one hour session,
Oof.
shifting from, because that's one of the biggest changes we made, was like a
Mhm.
1 hour session to an actual package. So
Yes.
tell us
Yes.
how you were able to make that mindset shift and really how it serves your business and then how it serves your clients as well.
I think it was in two parts too, because in order to for me to shift my mindset for my package, we also shifted my consultations and kind of how that looked, so
Mhm.
that people felt like if I'm going to be spending a larger amount, I'm getting more in the consultation, so I know who you are and that I can trust you.
Yes.
But just going from there, it's almost like I knew what I needed to do, but I wasn't doing it.
Yeah.
Right? What I had in my mindset was there are going to be a lot of people, especially this year, who can't pay a full $900 or $1,000 package because people are struggling and things are not that great. And
Mm,
so, but the thing that I knew was that habits don't happen in one session. I know that for transformation to happen with people and their money and their relationship with money, it takes multiple months. So when I moved from that package, I knew that that was valuable. I knew that people needed that because I saw that impact with my other coaches, with you, like, right? Like, I don't come to one session. It's a month, it's months and months and months to get my behaviors to change. And I knew that people needed to do that. I was just afraid to take the leap to say, okay, now I'm going to be charging you essentially the same amount, but it's almost psychologically, it seemed like a lot more. But when I started to do that, I think people thought, you know what? I can see how I can actually change in this. Not just this one thing, maybe you'll help me with my budget and then it'll be fine, but like I can literally change my relationship with money, that I've thought of money as like controlling or restrictive. Even the mindsets that people have around money are things that they have created and built over years and decades. So you're never going to be able to go in the other direction in just a few sessions. You're going to need months and months to change that. And so when I actually put the offer out and people started saying, okay, I was like, oh my goodness, this is real. This works. Like, yeah,
yes. And I think you
yeah.
brought up a really good point, which as the date of this recording, we are in 2025. So we know like election cycles, tariffs, like political stuff, inflation, right? Like, so I do think it's true that we are in a time that people are financially strained. Like, we can just say that that's true.
Right.
But what's important to understand is that our thoughts about the economy
Mm-hmm.
is going to impact our business. And so
Yes.
what Kiera is demonstrating here is like she helps people with money. Like, obviously they're not in a good financial position with money, but what she realized was that it's not going to help them to just have one call. That's not going to actually give them the solution. What's going to help them is to do a series of calls over months' time so that they can get the transformation. And even though people are struggling, even though the economy is what it is, people still have problems that need
Mm-hmm.
solved.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to think of like I like to listen to Grant Cardone. He may not be for everybody, but he's got this real book. He's got this book called he's got a couple books, but one of them's called 10X and the other one's called um, Be Obsessed or Be Average. And what he talked about was going through the 2008 financial crisis, right? Like, we've had a recession before,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody that comes out of a recession stronger is still investing in themselves, is still
Mm-hmm.
investing in their business, is figuring it out. Like, they don't give up in hard times. Like, they get
Correct.
harder, they get more focused, they get more intentional. So I bring this up to say if anybody's listening and you're worried about your business because of the economy, it's your time to get flexible, resilient, dedicated, determined, because people still need your help. They probably need your help even more because things are harder. So
Absolutely.
I love that you dialed in like, hey, I'm going to do $1,000 package because that's what gets people results.
Right.
And then one like tiny note, I think this is what I remember. So before we started working together, I think you were doing a 15-minute consultation and then
Right.
like you were selling a one-on-one for like 150. Like those are the two
Right.
things on
Right.
your website.
Correct.
Okay. So tell the people what you changed about your consultation process because that is a lot of what you and I've worked on. That's what a lot of what I teach my clients.
Mhm.
And how this relates to like reframing what selling is because I know that that's one
Yes.
of the things that has shifted in your mindset as well.
And I would say yes. So I went from 15-minute consultations to now 60-minute
Mhm.
consultations. And I think part of that set like used carsmen
Mhm.
selling kind of energy that I felt was because well, how much can you do in 15 minutes? Like I'm
Mhm.
trying to spout off everything I can do for you and you need to, but people don't know me. They haven't
Mhm.
even been able to sit down with me for a half an hour to really know who I am and how I can help them. There's not a lot that you can really do in 15 minutes. And so I know when I started working with you and we kind of shifted to this 60-minute deep dive, what it allows is it allows for people to take their time to really make a great decision,
Mhm.
not a rush decision, but a decision that they get to know me a little bit more. We get to go into every aspect of their finances. So budgeting, so savings, debt repayment, money mindsets, beginning investing, all of those components that I do teach and understanding where do you feel like you are today? And then I'm able to slowly walk them through this is what coaching is going to look like for you. And here's how that pricing can work for you. And this is the plan that we can create for you moving forward. And they were able to put all the different pieces together in that hour versus probably not even getting half of that in the 15 minutes.
Mhm. And I'm
Yeah.
always curious, like where people get their ideas. So, like, where did you get the idea to do a 15-minute consult? Like, where did
From
that come
another coach.
from? Okay, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yep, yep. And
Yeah.
so, what I always say is like, there's a lot of different things that can work, and almost everything can work.
Yeah.
But what I always teach is foundationally giving people value ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And the most valuable thing somebody can get from you is an hour of your time for free unattached, you're just giving value and you're making a decision whether or not to work together, but you're truly just like, hey, I'm here to help people. And the more
Absolutely.
people you help, the more things you give away for free, the more clients will refer you, the more
Mm-hmm.
you'll get really good at like knowing what it is that you offer. So I always tell people like give away your time for free. Like
Yeah.
there's always going to benefit you.
Yeah.
Period. Like it's always going to benefit you. It's always going to benefit your clients. So let's talk about too I think this is really interesting because I do have a lot of clients that I would call like heart centered, very kind, very connected, like very loving. And I would consider you in that way too. Like you really
Yeah.
care about people. And then they typically have a lot of thoughts about selling that's like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to do that. So
Mm-hmm.
can you tell me like what you've needed to think in order to be on like a consultation is a sales call, right? Like we're going to talk
Mm-hmm.
about selling at the end. So what do you think needed to shift for you from like what you used to think before to what you think
Mm-hmm.
now, selling something more expensive, right? And
Yeah.
really like being able to help people make a decision on
Yeah.
investing in themselves and investing in their results.
Yeah. So I think the biggest shift was taking the, I guess, like the spotlight off of me because the things I was thinking and selling is what are they thinking about me? Are they perceiving me? What are they assuming? And I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to seem salesy. And in my mind, I always, like I said, use the used car salesman approach to this is what selling is. And that gives me the ick. So in my head, it was like, if I come off like that, it will give them the ick too. I had to shift my mindset to this is really not about me.
Mm,
I chose to be a money coach because I felt called to it, purposed in it, and as if like God called me to do it. But he called me to serve other people. And so really it was meeting them where they were to provide them a solution to their pain point. And a lot of people have pain points around money, not even just budgeting or debt repayment, right? And so I wanted to meet them and understand that I can help them transform their lives and I can walk alongside with them. And to me, that doesn't feel salesy or icky.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this. And I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this. So, so to take a moment, but I think the first experience that my clients have with me when they coach with me is getting to go through my consultation process when they
Mm-hmm.
onboard with me and
Yes.
they say yes. And so when you think about your consultation with me, it was a sales process, right? Like I
Right.
took you through the same process that I taught you, but you tell me like how did it feel as a client to go through that process of a consultation
It
and make a
felt like
decision?
I was going to see how we were going to work together in coaching.
Hmm.
Like I think a lot of times, and I see this on consultations, when you go into a coaching atmosphere, especially if you've never had a coach
Hmm.
before, the thing is like, what are they going to have me do? How is this going to be? Am I going to feel like am I going to fail? And I think when you go through that consultation process, and when I went through it with you, you helped me to see like, I'm going to help you, and there's no way that you're going to fail because
Hmm.
really you have all the things that you need. You just don't know necessarily how to implement them properly yet. There's a
Yes.
process that you need to go through. And I just didn't know the components of that process. But as we've gone along with coaching, it's like that works for me, and this works for me, and that works for me. And now I can build a process for my clients as well. But it helped me to just see one, how I can work in consultations and with my clients, but how safe I felt, how much it didn't feel salesy. It just felt like you were guiding me along what this process is going to look like.
Yes. I'm so glad you said that because that I think like to me, consultation should feel fun, like
Mm-hmm.
for the client and for you. Like it should feel like I get to do this. Like look at
Yeah.
me building my dream, helping people, getting paid to help
Yeah.
people. And like really that's how I approach consultations is like it actually
Mm-hmm.
feels fun and people feel excited about saying yes. They might feel nervous too, equally nervous. They might have some money objections at the end of the call, but our job as coaches on a consult is just to help them see like, okay, what is it that you want? How are we going to get there?
Yes.
And is it worth it to you to invest money to reach your goal? Right. And that's the whole point of the consultation. And it is selling, but
Yeah.
selling, I always say like, and we talked about this today earlier on like, selling doesn't have to feel sleazy at all. It is actually a service. It's the most valuable service you can offer somebody when you're thinking about them. When you're like, I know what you can do. I see what we can do for your future. And you're selling them on their future and the result
Yeah.
that they could get. And
Yes.
you're giving them the invitation to consider, like, here's what we could do together. But like, this is what it's going to take. It's going to take some time and it's going to take some investment, but you can do it. And like,
Yes.
here's what it looked like to get started. All right.
Yes.
I love that. So the last thing that we so we talked about like I asked her to come to the call prepped and she did. So we talked about reframing what selling is. We talked about that. We talked about taking our sessions from one session to an actual package because that's what's better for the client. And the last thing is reframing the story that you were telling yourself. So like stories about networking, stories about being an introvert,
Oh,
stories about social media. So let's
yeah.
just dive in there and start talking about how you've shifted your mindsets in those and how they've created your results.
Oh my goodness. So I feel like in a way I jumped right in, partly because you helped me to jump right in, right? Like when we started, I don't know if it was the first week or the second week, you were like, I'm going to be doing a TikTok challenge. And don't you want to be a part of it? And my first reaction was like, absolutely not. I've always told myself I'm never going to be on TikTok. I'm, an elder millennial. We just don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Instagram, but also I was telling you that I was having a lot of trouble with Instagram because
Mm-hmm.
it seemed like it was just so cumbersome. Like it just took a long time to create content.
Mm-hmm.
And what that made me think was like, I don't even want to do this. So like the idea of like posting every day, like who has time to post every day? There's so much that goes into this. And I was starting to get fearful and like, I'm not doing this well. And I'm looking at everybody else's content and I'm like, mine's not this good. So I would literally go sometimes weeks without posting anything to Instagram. And I wasn't obviously showing up for myself and therefore I couldn't show up for my business. So when you threw out like TikTok and I was like, nope. But you were like, just record. You don't have to play it back. Just post it. And it was 10 days. And each day that I did that, it got easier and easier. It got quicker and quicker. And I was like, oh man, this is so much easier than Instagram. This is so amazing. And literally within 3 weeks on TikTok, I got a client. I was like, how does this happen? Like, how does this literally happen? It's something that I was absolutely shut off to doing
Mm-hmm.
for literally the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, just take a step and try it.
Yes. I love this. And I'll explain to you all my reasons behind this challenge. So I have a mastermind and we do a TikTok challenge every time I run the mastermind. And I call it the 10-day TikTok trash challenge, which means like record trash, like be in your workout clothes. Who cares? You're eating oatmeal at breakfast, just record. The purpose of it is to say with your words over and over again what you do so that you become really good at what you do.
Yeah.
And like the side effect is you could sign a client and it feels really easy. So
Yeah.
like what we did was we literally challenged, like I set the challenge up of like posting 4 times a day on TikTok, which sounds crazy, but like it really isn't that hard to just press record and be like, hi, this is what I do. Here's some easy tips about money
Yeah.
today. And so that's the reason why we did it. And I like that you just jumped in and I like that you were like, absolutely not. Cause that's how I was. When my coach told me a couple years ago to get on TikTok, I was like, no, that's for like Gen Z. Like,
Yeah,
I don't want to
exactly.
dance, right? But I love it because it's low pressure, it's low key. And a lot of social media has changed in the past. We were just talking about like the past 5 to 6 years. Like it's changed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Instagram and Facebook have heavily become ad focused, meaning the people who have $1 million businesses are like running Instagram and Facebook because they have money to put into ads. If you're brand new, and I say brand new, like your first 3 years of your business, you haven't made 6 figures yet, you've got to be gritty in your organic marketing and you've got to just connect with a small audience. So I'm curious, how many followers do you have on TikTok right now? I want to give people the point that
Right.
you don't need a ton of followers to sign clients.
I want to say like 80 maybe
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
not a lot.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Right.
Yep.
But obviously, you don't need a lot because really, when I'm talking to the camera and I'm saying what I need to say, I'm thinking about one person. And it's amazing
Yes.
how then that one person comes to you, right?
Yes.
They find you.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And when you're hitting record, what are you deciding to think? Because I know what I think, but I'm curious for
Mm.
you, like when you're deciding to hit record, what are your thoughts?
Well, sometimes I do have like this is the content I'll have in my mind of kind of like this is what I want to say. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes things just kind of come out of the blue, like
Mm-hmm.
something happened at yoga and it just like inspired me. And so I'm just thinking like somebody else needs to know this motivation or somebody else needs to know what's going on money wise or somebody else
Mm-hmm.
needs to know this tip. And it would be like I'm talking to my friend if I'm giving this tip. And that's what it kind
Yes.
of looks like to me when I like play back my TikToks now. It just seems like I'm trying to tell my friend, like, you need to do this with your money. You need to do this to grow your money. You need to do this to save your money.
Yes.
And that brings a lot of fun, right? In
Mm-hmm.
doing it. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it is very impactful.
Yes. And I think
Yeah.
the underlying thing is you're not making it have to be profound. So you're not like, I need a profound money tip.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I teach my clients is like, your stuff should feel very basic to you, where you're just like,
Yeah.
you need a budget. Like it feels basic to you. You're like, yeah, everybody
Yeah.
knows that. But the point is, everybody doesn't know that or they would
Yeah.
be doing it, right?
Yeah.
So you're just sharing very basic information to you,
Yes.
but it's profound to other people. They're like,
Yes.
what? I need a budget? What do you mean? Yeah.
And I've found that to be true. I've had people like DM me who were like, oh my gosh, I just watched your content. These tips were great. And I'm thinking, oh, I just thought everybody knew that. They don't. So in any industry, like the industries that your other clients are in, like people don't know this. They don't know it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. And I'm looking at you guys can follow her. It's Money Empowered on Instagram and Money Empowered on TikTok. And it says Kiera Money Coach. And she's got 68 followers.
There you go.
So it's perfect. So
Yeah.
how did you actually get a consult from TikTok? Did they like message you? Like I don't remember
Mhm.
talking about this. So how'd that work? Okay.
They messaged me like I could tell that, like looking back, obviously
Mhm.
they were liking things
Mhm.
and saving my
Mhm.
content. And then one day they were just like, they DM'd me. I think I probably told DM
Yeah.
me if you want to set up a consultation. And she was like, I would love to set up a consultation because I'm ready to get my money in order.
Yes.
And that's how it started.
So easy.
Yeah.
Look at that. So easy.
I was dumbfounded. I
Yes.
was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about this too, because I have a lot of clients who are still working a job, right? They've
Mhm.
got kids, they've got a spouse, they've got a partner,
Mhm.
they've got things. So I want to talk about like how many hours a week do you think you're dedicating to your business? Because I think a lot of
Mm.
people will try to make it a problem if they've got a job or they've got a kid or
Yes.
they've got other responsibilities. And I think
Yes.
you've done that really well to where you've been prioritizing your business more, probably
Yes.
more than when we first started working together. But it's
100%.
still probably not like as much as you thought. Like it doesn't actually take as much as you thought. So can you tell the people maybe how many hours you might be dedicating to your business?
I would probably say anywhere from maybe not right now, probably 12 to 20 hours.
Hmm.
Probably not even, probably 10 to 15
Yep.
hours.
Okay.
And I only say that because, and I'll let people know too, like I do have a part-time job.
Hmm.
And what I've loved more recently is just watching it because before in my part-time job, I was working 35 to 40 hours every two
Hmm.
weeks. Now I'm working 20 hours a week. So I'm seeing me prioritizing more of my business, seeing
Hmm.
how prioritizing my business creates more revenue and
Hmm.
how I want to continue to move forward. But I would say in your mind, you probably think I'm going to need more time than you actually do. And what that does is it stops you from doing anything.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
start just, and even if it's like, okay, right now I'm doing nothing, or I might be doing 2 hours. Okay, well, do three, do four,
Hmm.
just still start small. But once you start prioritizing your business, you do see it come back and reward you. You do.
Yes.
And that might not even be at the beginning revenue rise, but that could just like be building your confidence, like creating different packages, new processes. But the more that you're putting into your business, the more it's going to come back to also serve you.
Yes. And I know people listening are asking because clients always ask me this. I'm going to give you a two-part question here, but they're asking like, but what do I do for those 10 hours a week? Like, what do I actually do? But
Mm-hmm.
before you answer that, I think you've done a really good job at this is who are you being
Yeah.
always comes before what you do. So
Yes.
how would you answer that in terms of like who you're being? And then how does that relate to what you do for your business?
So I think I mentioned at the beginning of just like showing up for myself. And sometimes that has to be very literal for
Mm-hmm.
me. So what I started to do, and I started to go to more networking events.
Mm-hmm.
I started because I know that I work best in the morning. Like after I taken my son to school, my brain is more alert. Sometimes I'll walk even before. But if I come back and I work for the next like one, it might just be an hour. Doing that for my business at the beginning of the day shows me that I'm prioritizing myself, that I'm putting that into myself, and it helps the rest of my day actually feel more productive and feel more purposeful.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I have 3 days a week that I have at least probably 2 to 3 hours that will be for my business. That doesn't necessarily include networking.
Mm-hmm.
And so I tried to do either online networking at least once a week or an in-person networking now once a week, which I wasn't doing before either. So that does also add up. But for me, that is really like moving my business forward, like meeting people who can refer me, people I can meet with, people I can collaborate with. And that has just shown up immensely for me as well. So that is included in what I would consider probably the 10 to 15 hours. But I am doing either emails, reaching out to other people, doing some networking, doing consultations.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that is included in kind of what doing content creation for my business.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah.
I love that. And as you are sitting down to do the things, what are your primary thoughts about yourself? And maybe how have those shifted since we started working together?
Totally shifted because it shifted from, oh gosh, I can't do this. I'm going to try to do this Instagram and I can't do it. I'm done. And I didn't even do anything. Like before I really even started, I was quitting because it was just very overwhelming for me. And I didn't feel like I was making progress, which is why I also was like, I need to invest in coaching because as a coach who has a coach who's had multiple coaches, I just know that you can go further faster. And I needed some of those things that was like, oh, those light bulb moments, or think about it in this way. You can do this process and then creating those processes. When I started with you, I think, I had even my website, did some tweaks. Even that, I was like, I needed to do I remember looking back and I was like, I was trying to do those tweaks in December, but I just kept putting it off, putting it off,
Mm-hmm.
putting it off. The accountability is really key for me and just knowing I'm meeting with you every week too, right? So sometimes it's not even just like I have my own willpower and confidence. It's like, no, I got a coach to help me with accountability so that I know that I'm going to show up every week and I'm going to have taken some type of step.
Hmm. Yes.
That's really important.
Yes. And let's talk about evaluations because that's a big, big part of what we do. Like it's almost
That's
like a
new
little,
for me.
yeah. And it's a
Yeah.
little bit, especially because I work with a lot of high achievers, perfectionists, like they have a hard time, like quote unquote, getting things wrong. And so a lot
Yeah.
of times, like when we evaluate, we're like, ooh, I'm looking at what I got wrong. But
Yes.
always what we're doing first is like what's going well, what's going right,
Yes.
what are we winning at. So that's why we always start our calls with 3 wins, right? And we say what's working. But I'm curious about sitting down and evaluating. Like sometimes it feels like we're doing a lot of it. Like I'm like, let's think about it. Let's look
Mm.
at it. And like I know for sometimes my clients, I'm like, we're spending a lot of time on this one thing. But I'm curious for you how that's helped you have awareness, especially on consults or the way you show up at networking or the way you follow up with people. How has the evaluation process really helped you see how you're creating your results?
Well, that's the thing. It was helping me to see how I'm creating my results or what I can do differently. Now, I'm absolutely the person that you just defined. Of I don't want to get it wrong, and that's
Mm-hmm.
where over a lot of my life the procrastination has happened. Right? I don't want to get this wrong, and I think in doing certain evaluations with some consultations, I came out of it thinking like, oh, I really messed that up, and then to be like, oh, and I'm gonna have to tell Cami about it. And I was just like, no. But as you walked me through, like, okay, let's sit down and talk about like what happened. How are you feeling about this? I think that's the part that beforehand it was just I felt like I failed or I felt like I did something wrong. But even going through the evaluation of thinking about the consultations, you never get everything wrong. So you can look at some things and say, like, okay, I did this well. I started off well. I think I was telling you that like, I started off well, then something shifted and I don't know what happened. But now I can talk through this is actually what I was thinking. This is actually what I was feeling. And here's how I can change that for the next time. That's
Yes.
huge. Because, right, a lot
Yes.
of times I went from this is what I did wrong, but I'm not sitting there enough to think about, like, how can I change it? And so
Yes.
then you keep doing the same thing over and over, getting the same result, and then feeling really like you failed and not moving forward.
Hmm.
So,
Yes. And that's like the willingness I teach people is I think, especially like perfectionist high achievers, like we procrastinate because we want to get it right. We don't want to fail, right? Because we really beat ourselves up. We feel a bunch of shame. Then we want to hide and
yeah.
do anything other than show up for our business. And when
Mm-hmm.
that happens, we are not making the money that we want to make. So I'm always talking about you've got to be willing to feel very uncomfortable, feel anxious, feel like an imposter, feel like you failed, and you will make a lot of money. Like
Yeah.
that is always the truth. Like when you learn how to feel those feelings, you will make so much money because you're like, well, okay, let's try again. Let's try
Yeah.
again. And
Yeah.
then that's how you end up making the money that you want to make.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to offer, we'll start to wrap up on this part and we'll talk about how we're going to collaborate and we'll invite some people to our workshop coming up. But I want to know, is there anything else that you either wish I would have asked you or that's coming up that you're like, I really think people should know this too, either about money or about coaching or about any of the processes
Mm.
that we talked about so far?
Well, I think you just kind of said it, and that would have been another thing that I would say, like shifting the mindset from this feels uncomfortable, so I'll just stay right here to this feels uncomfortable and I can still do it. And I
Yes.
think with a lot of like small business owners, especially that I meet, because we might have gotten into our small business, whatever that is, because we have a passion for it. We feel like we're called to do it and we want to help people. But if you've never done business, you don't know how to do the business, right? And so all of the different aspects of sales or marketing or what the back end, the P&Ls or whatever that is can seem very overwhelming. And if you've never done it before, it feels very uncomfortable. So you might not get the coaching that you need and you just keep putting it off. You might not be reaching out to the people that you need to because you don't think that you're doing it right. But you can actually still do that and feel uncomfortable in doing it. And you will
Mm,
be okay. Like I look back at some of my like, especially earlier, like Instagram, right? I didn't know what I was doing. And now I'm like, ooh, but at least I was doing something. I
yes.
was feeling uncomfortable the whole way. And even getting into like the sales of things that feels very uncomfortable. Networking,
Yep.
I consider myself to be an introvert for sure. And
Mhm.
so the idea of networking, the only thing I'm thinking is, what shirt do I need to wear so I don't have pit stains that everybody can see? Like, because that's what I'm getting, right? Well, where am I going to go in the corner and just stand there? Or who else do I know who's going to be there that I can literally almost like latch onto them because I feel so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But in doing the repetition, you're gaining the confidence, and uncomfortable starts there, but it doesn't end uncomfortable, right? You gain that confidence, you do it over and over again, you get better at it. And then you kind of move on to the next uncomfortable thing. But
Mm-hmm.
you actually can't get to where you want to go without being uncomfortable at some point. So just do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, you're going to be uncomfortable either way. So you're going to be uncomfortable if you're
Yeah.
not doing it, right? You're like, I'm not
Yes.
doing it. I'm disappointed in
So
myself. I'm
true.
frustrated. I'm procrastinating and I'm uncomfortable. I'm feeling bad and I
Yes.
don't have the money that I want.
Yes.
Versus I'm uncomfortable, but I'm taking action and I'm gaining momentum and I'm making money.
Yes.
It feels a
Yes.
lot better to be making money and be uncomfortable
Yes.
than to be not
Yeah.
making money and be uncomfortable.
Yes.
So it's like
Yes.
that's the bonus is you actually get to make money, you get to help
Yeah.
people for like what your skill is, right? Like I think
Yeah.
this is everybody's dream is like I get paid for who I am, I get paid for my knowledge and my
Mhm.
skill and like I get to build this business that I've always dreamed of and I get to make money like doing what I love. Like
Yeah.
that's the bonus. That's the carrot, right? It's like that's
Yes.
why we want to feel uncomfortable is because we actually get to live our dream while doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I want to shift gears a little bit because I want to talk about what you do for money coaching because it's funny because you hired me to help you learn sales and marketing, learn how to sell more, right?
Yes.
And then as I was coaching with you, I was like, I think she can help me with my money.
Did not anticipate that.
Yes, I was like, she's going to be my coach. So I want to talk about that too, because I think, and I'm speaking to like any of my former clients, any of my potential clients, what happens is sometimes we make money, then we make money mistakes, or we make money and we make investments and we go in debt and we mismanage our money. And
Mhm.
that can be like the point where people give up on their business.
Yes.
So the reason I'm speaking this out is because I've made six figures. I've made some money decisions where I'm like, oh, that wasn't great. Or, oh, I was highly optimistic with that. And
Mhm.
I've come out with a lot of debt in my business. And I've realized, oh, like I need to learn how to manage large amounts of money and how to like put things in place so that when I make 200K, 300K, 500K, I have a plan in place.
Yeah.
So I just want you to speak to those people who are like,
Mhm.
okay, maybe they're feeling money shame. Maybe they're feeling like it
Yeah.
was working, now it's not working.
Mhm.
What would you say to them in terms of how to get started, how you could help them with their money if they were to reach out and book a consult with you?
Yes. And you might, I don't know what where your clients are all are, but I know that, like you said, you've made six figures and you're like, I don't know what to do with this
Yeah.
large amount of
I
money.
think a
Some
lot of
people,
them
yeah.
have problems with debt and shame
Mhm.
around debt and like using debt to build their business. And sometimes they will like stop investing in their business in order
Mhm.
to pay off debt. And I
Mhm.
think there might be a middle ground. So I'm just wondering what you might say
Right.
about that.
And actually, I think it almost depends on the person, right? Like
Mhm.
some people will actually feel like so uncomfortable with all of the debt that it might be like, okay, for this portion of time, maybe it's 6 months,
Mhm.
okay, you're going to continue to do what you do with your business, but it's really consuming your time that you would need to spend on your business, your energy. So let's get a little bit out of the way, because what I always say is like,
Mhm.
if it's hard for you to manage large sums of money, for some people that starts with like, it can be hard to manage small amounts of money. So
Mm.
if we look at this pattern of just like, let's start with a small amount of money, and once we manage a small amount of money, and wherever that is, maybe that is in debt repayment, maybe that is in savings, because I also, there will be business owners who will invest a ton of themselves, and then there are business owners who will put everything into the business, but they won't give anything to themselves because they don't think that they're worthy, or
Mhm.
they don't think that they're at a certain place, um, at a certain place in a certain time. And I always feel like the way that you reflect yourself is the way that you reflect your business. And
Mhm.
so if you're just like, I'm giving everything to everybody else, but not to myself, it's like, then you actually can't, you need to feel worthy. And that's where you come with like the shame. If you're feeling shame, I always say, we're going to do counter intuitive. I want you to pour back into yourself if you're feeling more of the shame, because
Yes.
you need to start off with a place of like, I'm worthy of this. I need to invest in myself, and this will reflect itself in my business. But if you can't manage large sums of money, generally can't manage small sums of money, because it is a pattern and it is a habit. So we start with those small steps. But I would even say, especially with that guilt and shame, sometimes people need to voice it, right? It might be like journaling it out, talking to someone, even a fair, I have clients who have me as their money coach. They also have a therapist too. And some of that work is what they do with that. But a lot of it is also looking at like, where did this start? Where did this shame happen? Oh, I made this money mistake. Okay, now what did you learn from that? I learned X, Y, Z, all of the letters. Well, okay, now you learned so much from this. And now we can change what's happening. This is actually the best for you because I'm believing that in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, you're going to have so much money. And this is now your opportunity to learn how to manage it so that you can just go exponentially up. But we have to start here. Yes. I think that's a big thing that people, especially in fear and shame, they kind of want to jump. And I see this with a lot of clients. Like, I've made these bad mistakes, but I'm trying to like overcompensate or like overcorrect.
Yeah.
And so it feels like I want to do this fast and quick. But habits and behaviors and changes like that, they start small. They have repetition. And the same thing like this, right? For coaching with me, with you, it was, I need to gain that confidence. Okay, you're going to do a TikTok every day. Mm-hmm. Or you're going to do 4 TikTok. You're not going to do from A to Z in a month.
Yes.
We're going to take small steps, and small steps are okay.
I like that because you're really speaking to thinking about the long term of you and your business and who you're becoming as you learn. This is just part of the process of learning.
Yes.
And we're all going to make money mistakes. We're all going to make consultation mistakes. Like we're all going to make mistakes. And being able to keep on moving is the thing that will bring us that resilience and focusing on the long term. I love that.
Not getting stuck there.
Yes. Okay.
Keep moving.
So let's go ahead and wrap this up. I want to let them know how to find you, how to work with you, and then we'll invite them to, we both have some Black Friday offers. So we'll let them know. You can just let them know how to reach out to you. And then we are collaborating on a money mindset workshop next week, which is November 26th, which is a Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. We are doing a money mindset workshop, and that's going to be $11.11. So I'll put the link in the caption below. Definitely sign up because you're going to get some money mindset on how to make money. And then you're going to get some money mindset on what to do with that money once you make it and how to have a strategy for it. So sign up for that. And then Kiera, go ahead and tell them where they can find you, how they can connect with you to book a consult and take advantage of your offers.
So you can go to my website to book a consult. It is moneyempowered.com. And I think, as you mentioned, on TikTok and Instagram, you can start following me. It's money_empowered for both Instagram and TikTok.
Beautiful. I love it. And then they can also book you to speak. What do you speak on whenever you are doing your workshops or talking points?
I do kind of customized speaking engagements, but I do money mindsets.
Yep.
I recently, this past weekend, I did something on finances in the holidays, but even just like finances 101, things about credit, savings, debt, budgeting.
Yes. I love it. So good. And for those of you watching this, if you don't know me, you can find me at Cami Kennedy on Instagram and TikTok. And my website is at Cami Kennedy. You can book a consult there too. Kiera, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So good. Yes. This is so good. So concise. I know they got a lot out of this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Make sure you guys reach out to her. All right. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.